Haven't seen you in forever
It was
for
it was
some reason.
it was days ago. It was days ago.
And it already feels like, I mean, because I'm in New York City, I'm in a hotel.
You are. Yeah, it was. I'm jealous of where you are. I don't know if you want to say publicly where you are, but
I
I am jealous.
will. So there's going to be, I'm going to do an Instagram real video tour of the room and some bits of the hotel.
Okay.
Long story short, Olivia and I like watching the WNBA together, and it's playoffs time. And the New York Liberty made it to their third round of the first round against the defending champs. So it's 1-1. Whoever wins tonight goes on to semis.
Very nice.
Um, and it was in New York, and I was like, you know what? I wonder if I can make this happen because I picked her up last night. I literally booked the train tickets last night because the airfare was
Yeah,
obscene.
I saw an Instagram story. You were at the train at like 4 a.m. or something. I was like, this is insane.
But the thing was, like, the cheapest direct flights that I could find on non-Delta were 450. Delta was 600, and that was per ticket.
Yeah.
That was a bit much. So the train was cheaper. And instead of using one of my hotel rates, I transferred some of my Chase Sapphire rewards to World of Hyatt. And I am staying at the Park Hyatt New York City.
Oh,
It's right by Central Park.
oh.
I've never done a Park Hyatt. It's beautiful. I will venture out and say this is a top 5 bed for me. Bed is a huge shtick for me. If I had to rank them, this might be number 2 or 3. Like, it's a
Never.
good solid bed.
I want to do a Park Hyatt. Like the one that I always keep viewing is the Park Hyatt Sydney. Like some of the rooms overlook the Opera House.
Harris.
Oh, yeah, that one's expensive. That one's out.
I
It,
would rate
it
it.
it makes the Park Hyatt Sydney look affordable. Like the Park Hyatt Sydney is not terrible. The Paris one is, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So
Well, what's so funny is, I had to work this afternoon. So Olivia was hungry. We looked at the room service menu, and it's a little more elevated. And it's not that Olivia does need stuff like that. She's like, I just want pizza, mom.
I get. Hey, you're in New York. Go to Joe's.
So pizza. So I DoorDashed pizza, and then her magnolia banana pudding and chocolate chip cookies from Levain. And I went down to go get them because I'm used to like having to go downstairs and get them. And they're like, "Oh, if they just tell us your name, we'll bring them up to you."
That's
Like, they
amazing.
don't let the DoorDash people like pass the first entry doors downstairs. Like, they just.
That's amazing.
But Jason, I dragged you to Alaska.
Well, before we get that, guys, we know there's been a lot of talk about that COVID vaccine rules for cruise ships. So we're going to discuss this at length probably next week, right, Haley? We'll discuss it more in length. So there's been a lot of moving parts. Some lines are still coming out with stuff, but the long and short of it is the vaccines are basically no longer being required. If you
There's a
are
lot of moving parts right
a lot of
now.
moving parts,
We,
if
we
you are
can't really like speak to all of it yet.
right, so we'll discuss it at length. We're not ignoring it. We know it's there. Testing requirements have gone down. So we'll discuss this at length. We're not ignoring the elephant in the room. We're letting you know we will discuss this more at length next week when we can kind of talk about what each of the lines and the
We're
groups.
reacclimating to our time zones and work and everything
Right.
else. And,
Right.
I want to just throw out basic information that we haven't read into and clarified for you.
Right. So yes. So what we're saying, you dragged me to Alaska.
And I think Jason will even admit that he even told me sometimes, well, you're dragging me here. I can't believe you're dragging me there.
It's true. She did. Yeah. So
And what are your thoughts? This was time number 3 for me and my 3rd cruise line I've done.
oh, yeah, but you did Princess Royal and Celebrity. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So full disclosure, guys, I wasn't as excited for Alaska as I was doing something like the Mediterranean, even like a Caribbean. I was just kind of like, Alaska, really? Alaska? Okay. So flew to Seattle, spent 3 days in Seattle. First time in Seattle. I really liked Seattle. Like, I thought it was great. I loved the Thompson, another Hyatt property. Loved that hotel. And it's like, let's do Alaska. So the highlight is, Haley, I didn't like it. I loved it. Okay. I thought it was wonderful. It was just so cool to see something just completely different. Like, I was running out of words and, mainly adjectives to describe how I was feeling, right? Like, majestic is the word that kept coming to mind over and over again to describe it. There's just a beauty to it that it's just different. It's just different. And everybody told me, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. And I did. So Haley, your third time, what did you think?
So I will definitely say that I can speak with some authority when people are always asking, they're always asking me kind of like, I don't wonder this, like, who's the best cruise line for Alaska? Like, who is it? Like, we're always quick to say Princess, because if you are that person that wants to fully immerse yourself in Alaska, like do the 7-day cruise, northbound, southbound, tie in that land package, and whatnot, that is Princess. But even comparing Royal Caribbean to Celebrity, I just thought it was so neat how you could do those excursions with the 2 boats to go out closer to the glacier. This captain spent a little bit more time, I will say, when we did Royal the year prior.
Haley, hold on, I'm going to interrupt you. You need to mute your stuff. It's very loud.
I do have it on, and I don't know why it's still.
It's just very loud. Just close the Messages app in your computer. It's very loud.
Okay, I have it on. The moon's here.
Okay, it's just very loud. Okay, continue.
Sorry. Like, he just kind of, like, Royal Caribbean just kind of did a quick turnaround and we left. Like, it was like one quick spin and we were like out of there. Celebrity, they just kind of like took their time. They had those extra excursion options. And I think if you're looking to do like that closed loop cruise only option, I mean, Celebrity did a great job. I personally I've done Glacier Bay. This is my second time doing Dawes Glacier. And even my father, who's done both now, loved the Dawes Glacier experience, because you just get this extra different scenery versus just being in the Bay of Ice. But I mean, that's kind of the highlight. I kind of laughed and said that I probably won't go back to Alaska now. But if I needed to do a mileage run towards the end of like a year, like, summer season, and I found a cheap enough last minute, I could be swayed, because it's also a bit more, for me, it's a bit more relaxing. Like, I wasn't out as late. Like, we did some more adventurous stuff.
I mean, minus night 1, we were not out that. I mean, I think I might have seen like midnight, right? I mean, we just weren't really out that late.
No, we weren't.
I mean, like I said, night 1, we were just so excited to see each other. Yours truly had maybe a few too many martinis. Shocking.
Disco was a lot of fun, though.
It was a lot of fun. So here's before we dig into the ports, and I really do want to dig into the ports, what we did, what we liked, what we didn't like, what would change. Before we dig into that, I'm going to say at a high level, I like Alaska because it appeals.
You heard it here.
Right. So I think it's cool because it appeals to a variety of types of activities, right? We had people in our group who were excursion, tour, go, right? And then you can do that in Alaska, right? You can do the tours. I mean, we had somebody in our group said, in Alaska, it's all about the tours and excursions, right? I would contend for them, right? You could also have a very calm, relaxing experience in Alaska, and that's okay too.
It is. And kind of like I said to you, it's also nice to be on a cruise in the summer and not be like sweating to death.
I agree. I agree. So I thought it was great. I also think the cruise lines advertise, or I should say market Alaska a little wrong. It's
Yeah.
not that it's not like I just posted an Instagram story. I reposted a celebrity thing like 10 minutes ago. My Instagram story is beautiful. But Alaska, I think, can appeal to a wider variety of what people think, right? People think Alaska is just for like the old people. And don't get me wrong, our sailing, I mean, there were older people on our sailing, no
Yeah,
doubt
they're
about
all
it.
age.
My, but um, I think younger people would enjoy Alaska because you can do the active stuff, right? You can do the hiking, the canoeing, the all the stuff active people do, right?
We'll talk about my bit a bit more in Skagway, but you know that there's an excursion you can do in Skagway where they take you out to a certain point on that road that goes into the Yukon that I drove where you bike it.
Yeah, right. Like,
There's a whole stream of cyclists, and I was just like, okay.
right. So I really think younger people, my good friend Michael, who I roomed with, that was his first cruise. And he loved it, by the way, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. But so some of his friends back home, around his age, late 20s, early 30s, were messaging him and saying, "This is Alaska? This is what it is?" They were blown away by what it was.
It
And
kind of gets marketed as and then this isn't a snap to anybody, but like it gets marketed as an old fogey cruise, like the
it
last
does.
year for the
And don't
last
get me
year
wrong.
of your life.
Don't get me wrong. When I'm 80 or 90 and can barely move, I'm gonna love Alaska. It's cold. Throw me in the balcony and just let me watch the world go by, right? I get that. I totally get that. But
Yeah.
there really is an element of younger people can like it too. So that's my high, just my overall like high point. Do you have any high points before we dig into the ports?
No, honestly, like I said, as much as I thought this was going to be it for me, I wouldn't turn one down for the right price and right timing. Again, because again, it's just I slept more on this cruise, and I know that doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's very hard for me to relax on vacation. I'm always keeping up on my company and blogging and whatnot. But I actually came home rested from this trip and relaxed.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. You know, it was my dad's first time to Seattle. He loved it. It was a great trip. So let's talk ports. Ketchikan.
So this is our first port. I'm not gonna lie. I did not like it. Okay.
We deemed it the Nassau of Alaska.
It's Nassau, Alaska. It felt like, so if you know the South and in Tennessee, it felt like Pigeon Forge, East Tennessee. Like I was like, where's the Laffy Taffy machine? Where's the penny rolling machine? I was just like, this is not the vibe. Right? Don't get me wrong. It was pretty, like to see all the salmon, I mean, that was kind of cool. Kind of sad. Some of them that missed jumped and they died. That was kind of sad. And, to see it wasn't bears. It was
The sea lions waiting for them at the other end.
That was cool. I mean, that was cool. I mean, it was pouring down raining. I think it's the wettest city in America. Like
It's hot there. They have a rainforest,
right.
I believe.
So I didn't love it. And I'm not gonna lie, guys. As my first port, I was like, this is not fun. I don't like Alaska. Like, I mean, had a rain jacket.
You were ready to curse me out.
Huh?
I said you were ready to curse me out.
I was. It's like, this stinks. I hate it. Blah blah blah. Blah, right?
Yeah, I think unless you're gonna do some like salmon fishing or whatnot, like. And Jason, you know that I am able to find something pretty creative in every port that maybe is off the beaten path. Like
and even you were kind of like. So I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, Alaska is not for me, right? This is not for me. So next day was a sea day. And then the next day was we sailed into the Dawes Glacier.
Dawes Glacier in Juneau, yeah.
So everybody said, you got to set your alarm. So I set my alarm for 6:30 in the morning. Put out room service for 7. So that, we got up at 6. The butler was going to bring us room service at 7. Wake up at 6:30. I take a peek out of my window, and I could not believe what I was viewing.
That blue is just
I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. The water was clear. It looked like a sheet of ice. There were chunks of ice in the water. I'm getting teary-eyed talking about it. It was magical. So I run in the shower, quickly get dressed. My friend Michael was rooming with me. He's like, hurry up, let's get outside. So, we get outside. The butler brings us breakfast, and we're watching it. And it was stunning. We went to the top and just watched the sail in. Now, this is what you're talking about. Celebrity does offer an excursion. Some of our group did.
Mm-hmm.
A boat comes up to the solstice at like 6:30 in the morning, and they take them on an excursion even closer to the glacier, which some of those pictures were unbelievable.
That Randy Ruddle got were like,
it looked like a computer generated photo. It didn't even look like a real photo.
It did. It was amazing.
Yeah, so you did the same thing, right? You just got up, watched it, right?
I'll add a little tip in here because I'm a veteran now at this point.
You are 3 times.
So a lot of people always run to the front of the ship as you're coming into the glacier. Like, I'm sure you possibly saw where there's all the people along that front bow.
I want to do the front at one point. I did.
But you see how crazy it is. Like, everybody kind of packs in right there.
Yep.
This ship is going to spin, you guys. So what I did is I took my dad, because this is what I did on the Ovation as well, to the back deck, went up to where the lawn club was, got this beautiful viewing over the stairs, over all those other people from the back. And then we pulled up chairs at the Sunset Bar where it's the clear glass. We sat right there and got the most amazing photos because, the ship spun both ways. And there's hardly anybody.
It was great. I tell you, my favorite spot, I viewed it. So we left the point. And we're like, hey, let's go get breakfast. Oh, I'd already eaten on the balcony, but my friend Michael, we went to eat breakfast. We go to the Ocean View Cafe, and we sat at the aft. That Solstice class has.
You're deck below where I was.
Below.
Yeah.
And I was like, the best picture I took in Alaska was taken
in the back
from the Ocean View Cafe. It was beautiful. And then we went up one deck. You'd already gone. Other people were there. We sat at the Sunset Bar for a while, and it was just. I could not believe what I was viewing.
And if you guys are cold and you want to camp out there, because that's kind of what we did at one point, waiting for him to turn. The day before, the Ketchikan day, I asked for an extra blanket in my room, and that's what we took up to the deck. So Dad and he was sitting in his wheelchair. I was sitting next to him and just cozied up. They bring around spiked hot chocolate, and
it was great. I mean, I thought somebody did a good job. So then the afternoon we docked in Juneau. So what did you do in Juneau?
So I chartered a boat. We went halibut fishing, and just kind of like wildlife seeing. I got a video of a humpback breaching in the water, saw some sea lions, saw some seals, some eagles. Did my fish hunting, as Jason calls it. But honestly, it's great. I really like Juneau. Last time I went up to Mendenhall Glacier, flew my drone. Rick was so lucky with his skyline because it was so bright for me and the water was stirred up already. So it wasn't as nice of a color as Rick got. But I really like Juneau personally. And it's nice that it's kind of a later port.
I agree.
As well. So
I had an interesting day in Juneau. So I have a client that lives in Juneau, which is wild. And I'd never met this client. So he was like, let me show you around and we'll see what the locals do. So my friend Michael and I will get off the ship. We did the tram up the mountain. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful view up there. We had a drink up there and it was just stunning up there. Took the tram down and we decided to kind of explore the city for a bit before I met up with my client. And we walk into the bar. Haley, you've heard the story of other people who haven't. We walk in this bar, and it looked a little not it looked a little English pub manly, right? So we go to this pub and we sit down, and I'm looking around, and I turned to my friend Michael, who's also gay, and I said, Michael, I think we're in a gay bar. And we accidentally wandered into a gay bar in Juneau, Alaska. Swear to God, we did not know it. I hand to heart, no one believes us. No one believes us. I promise. So then my client and his wife picked us up, and they gave us just a really just nice tour of like some local stuff, right? It was kind of funny. We were driving past this field, and the wife was driving, and she goes, oh, we hate people do this. It's technically illegal. You're not supposed to stop here. If you guys have never been here, we're going to stop, and you can take a video of like these, like there were these black bear, like baby cubs playing out in the field. And so I was like, oh my God. So it's funny. I sent Haley a video of the bear. Like, look what I'm seeing. She drives past us at the exact same time. And it's like, I see you.
Driver's like, oh yeah, you're not supposed to do that, but you know the tourists.
Right.
Literally, as I'm getting a snap from Jason, I'm like, oh my God, Jason's that tourist.
Hey, I was not driving. A local stopped. It was all her. She took us out to the Mendenhall Glacier as well. Not quite as cool doing a drone shot like you, but it was cool. And it was just really neat to hear like a local perspective, right? We just asked lots of questions, like just about like what do the locals do? You can't drive into Juneau.
No.
Like you have to fly or ferry. We heard stories about like car repairs or like a big deal, or like if you have like serious surgery, you go to Anchorage or Seattle. Like it was just interesting just to hear some stories about it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was crazy. So that was Juneau. I thought Juneau was fantastic. And then the next day we did Skagway.
Yes.
What did you do?
Aesthetically, Skagway is my favorite port.
I would say the port I walked in, yes, nothing to me beat the sailing into the glacier.
No, I mean, like, when you look at Skagway, I mean, once you get outside the port area, like, the little town's cute, but the mountains and stuff,
I agree.
Little valley.
I think I agree. I think it's the aesthetic of the most beautiful port.
So I've done the train before. Once when I was 16 with my parents. Once again, last year with Olivia, because we were very limited what we could do with her. This year I decided to do a DIY Jeep audio guide tour. So the company is literally called like DIY Jeep Tours. That's literally what it's called there in town. And you get a USB that clips into your car like a memory stick. And it audio guides as you're driving through town. Like it has a map, that you get a binder. So you end up driving up, you cross the border, you have to go, through the little customs line into the Yukon. And they also give you a voucher for lunch. My dad had fishing poles for his fish hunting. So we stopped in some random spots, but it was stunning. I got to see Emerald Lake, which is beautiful. I'll post some more pictures online. It's so crazy, the colors in this lake. But I mean, if I were to go back to Skagway, I would do that hands down again, because we stopped at this little boat launch that was a Pebble Beach. Like I would literally like pack a foldable cooler, grab some food and snacks in town, and just do that again.
Yes,
I just loved it.
So I loved the town of Skagway. Thought it was cute. They had actresses that were playing like prostitutes. Like, and they saw the original brothel there, and it talked about like how the original prostitutes, like they would get fined, but it'd always go to like this to the city to help build like the roads and stuff. So it wasn't like a penalty. Some of the prostitutes thought it was like their way of like paying taxes. Like it was just interesting to do it, right? So these actresses that are walking on the streets and it's like, hey boys, my room's right over there. It was actually really cute.
You're the wrong tree, sister.
But it was funny. It was funny. But then we did the train.
Jason's the only person I know that did not like the train.
Dude, it was 3 hours of trees. I was like, wow, more trees and more trees. We have
I
2.5
think
hours.
I did a little bit better now in hindsight.
So when we got to the top of this mountain, an hour and a half up, we see like these big buses and vans, and we're like, how do we get on that? Was it beautiful? Yes, it was beautiful. Our car was very warm, but there were some older people in the front who got cold, so they shut the doors. We had like no airflow. Like there are no snacks, there were no drinks. Thank God we had an RX bar for the ride. But I was just like, I got nauseous on it. I'll be honest, guys, I keep it fair and balanced. I thought the train was actual torture. Okay. Like I thought, yeah, literally.
Well, a dog sled set up and come get you.
Yeah, I hated it. I just absolutely.
Somebody on Facebook said next time Disney.
It was awful. Now, was it beautiful? Yeah, other people enjoyed it. They thought it was great. I just personally, yeah, like Derek and Alex liked it. Rick liked it. Like Giuseppe went on it. The crew structure went on it. He liked it. Maybe it's a me thing, right? Maybe I just can't sit there for 3 hours and stare at trees for 3 hours without cell service. I just was losing my mind. Okay. I would have enjoyed it for an hour, but 3 hours, it was hell. There's no way to say it. It was just absolute hell. We get off the ship, and I see Joanna, the retreat manager, and she goes, "You don't look so good," because I kind of got nauseous on it. And I was like, "Joanna, there's a long line to get back on the ship. Is there any way you can help us out?" And she's like, "Absolutely, let's go." And just like, excuse me. And we got on the ship in like no time. Like, thank God for Joanna, the retreat manager. I put her in my survey, how amazing she was, how I love Joanna. She was amazing. So next time in Skagway, I would do something else other than the train. It was just the long 3.
I would do a Jeep tour again, hands down.
I wish I was with you. In hindsight, I wish I was.
I offered.
Well, I thought I should do the train. We're like, you got to do the train. I did the train. And then we had a sea day. No, we had a sea morning next, right? Or was it a sea day?
We had a sea day, and then we had another partial sea day, and we were in Victoria. Yeah. I did nothing in Victoria because here's my thing. We got in late, and we were there late. A lot of the little shops and stuff that I wanted to see close at 6. Also, if I were there earlier in the day, I would definitely do like a high tea or something like that. There just was nothing I had any desire to do. So I sent my.
You should have gotten off this. It was a cute town. You really should have gotten off. It was so
45 cute. Minutes from Canada, Jason.
Not from Victoria. You're what?
I'm 2 hours from Toronto, 45 from Niagara Falls.
That's like 4 hours from Montreal. Someone that lives in Mexico. Montreal. Oh, I'm close to LA. There's no reason for me to visit New York City.
Montreal. What? I can literally drive there, and I have driven there. You're going to tell me Montreal's not as aesthetic as Victoria? Girl, bye.
You cannot discount an entire country just because you're close to one city in a country. That doesn't even make sense.
There was nothing I wanted to do at that time of the day. If there was, like I said, I know it's very English, very British. If it was earlier in the day, I would do high tea all day.
So I actually think
that's what I would prefer to do there. Like if that was the case, I would have gotten off in a heartbeat.
I think Victoria is worthy of like a longer day. I really do. Like it was just a very cute, clean town. I wish we'd gotten there earlier as well. Everybody that we got off with, like, they thought it was just wonderful. They're like, this is such a cute town.
I don't know why
Um,
people are like, you did the right thing and stayed on board, because a lot of things were closed.
they were. It was just kind of walking around, and it actually made me realize now I would like to go earlier. So, Michael, who we keep mentioning, lives in Seattle, so very close to Victoria. He's excited. He wants to take a ferry there and spend like a whole day there. So I just thought it was just super cute. Just because I've been to one city in a country does not mean I'm gonna check the entire country off the list.
I've been to multiple cities in that country.
I'm just saying that just because
That's
you've been
what I wanted to do from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m.
walked around and have dinner. It was cute. It was a cute town. It was cute.
I like to eat dinner with a group of people, though, Jason.
Oh, yeah, I ate by myself. Yeah, I did. Hey, I didn't mind it. It was fine. But I met back up with everybody. So Victoria, I thought was great. I agree, which we were there earlier. But I mean, all in all, I just really I enjoyed the cruise. It was just, I went for a more relaxing experience, and some people went for a more active experience, and that's what's great about Alaska. So I think people should consider Alaska more so. And what's crazy, I went out with some friends Saturday night, and they're not really cruisers and stuff. And they know I travel all the time. I've been to Europe twice this year already. And I got like one or two comments like, oh, how was Europe? It was fine. People wouldn't stop asking me about Alaska Saturday night. It was non-stop Alaska talk. So
I'm anxious to see when eventually you and I will be able to compare it to like Norwegian fjords.
I agree. I want to do that. I want to do the fjords.
You know what's another interesting one, and I didn't realize Celebrity was doing it, but JJ Cruiser on the Summit right now, and it's this random like 22-night sailing that's going around Iceland and stuff like that, and that looks
so. I love the Summit. Like my favorite little ship in the world. I would not want to cross open oceans on the Summit.
I'm seeing the cruise itself, like what it's doing.
Yeah. Oh no, the ports are great, but I'm just like, ugh, that little ship would not handle a rough storm. Like it would not fare well. And we even had a one rough it was morning. You got a little rough one day on the solstice. Remember, everybody was like, this is really rare for Alaska. So the question is, Haley, would you go back to Alaska in the next 3 years?
If the price was right. And I had a window. Like, it's not something that I'm actively planning, like I need to squeeze in. But if I was kind of bored looking for something and the price was right, yes.
Okay.
You?
Yeah, I would. I mean, am I actively looking at itineraries for next summer? I'm not. But could I see myself seeing myself doing it in like 2020, like 4? Yeah, I could see myself doing it. Just something just very different. It's just very different. I mean, if people have talked about wanting to do like the southbound, that's a trek. I mean, but you fly to Anchorage, train down to Seward, like some people did the land tour part of it. I don't think I personally would like the land tour. But I thought I would like Alaska, so maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I'm wrong. Determined. To be determined.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining our Alaska cruise recap. We had a great time. Hope you enjoyed following along on social media. I still have some pictures and some posts and some thoughts to post online. So that is coming. But I thought it was just, I know it's cliche, but photos do not do it justice.
No.
I know it's cliche. So, guys, thanks so much. We'll be back next Tuesday at our regularly scheduled time, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. Well, Haley, thanks for dragging me to Alaska.
All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for coming.